Oh, that silly Dave Petzo. Of course, we'll catch him tomorrow morning from 8 to 10. Kevin Miller here. Thank you all for joining us. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Nick Kincaidis joining us now from the Media Research Center's television division. Nick, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Boy, it's like the news watch never stops when we're talking about President Trump and the media, sir.
Oh, that's for sure. That's definitely for sure. He's got a lot of heat on him right now with all the gun control hysteria going on.
Indeed, when we take a look at the gun control issue, is anything going to happen with this, and how does the media cover it objectively? Because there are some real concerns.
Oh, absolutely. There's real concern, and it's some of it's legitimate, but I think this assault that the media has had on the Second Amendment and the NRA is completely unfounded, and I think they're just using these kids as their pawns to push their agenda.
Yeah, and that's the strange, sick part about this, when you have these kids challenging adults that are saying, and look, we all did that as kids, Nick, you know that. I mean, we would say, why don't these adults don't know anything, but to sit there and to tell parents in this that, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to protect ourselves and you guys are going to, you guys have failed us. I just think to myself, do they really know what they're saying? No, and just their attitude towards it is crazy.
Well, I've been a person who's rallied against a lot of these stories that we hear coming out of universities, and I basically call them indoctrination centers now. And they do it to the kids younger and younger now. There's a reason why, pretty much everybody's kid it's mandatory to go to preschool now. They want to get their hands on your kid's young, impressionable mind as soon as possible. So that's why I think we're starting to see more of the high school element of youth starting to show their activism, if you want to call it that. We've seen it for years and years with college students, and I think the progression to younger kids, it's just a natural progression.
I would say, so, how do you weather the storm, or is that even possible?
I think I think it all comes down to parenting. Teach your kids right from wrong. Work with them on what they're learning in school. Know what they're learning in school. A lot of these parents, they don't know what their kids are being told and taught in school. So when they find out, a little something that's going on in these schools, they're dumbfounded. They had no idea it was going on.
Nick Kincaidis joining us from Media Research Television. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Nick, can you give us a preview of what we can expect on the Sunday shows? They've truly become a parody of what, David Brinkley and Tim Russert and some of the other greats used to have. It's it's a circus show, and whether it's Chuck Todd or George Stephanopoulos, who can be the biggest anti-Trump person there?
I think it's a concerted effort, and I think it's almost become a team effort. If you look at it, you got CNN, and who's even gone further left than what MSNBC used to be. You have NBC, ABC, CBS. It's like, where do you turn to find an unfiltered, lacking ideology? They're constantly pushing narrative and rhetoric, and people just don't know where to turn anymore for actual news.
Well, the news has become partisan, and especially with this, this situation about this guy McCabe that's about ready to retire, and he's not going to get his pension. Now, Nick, if you get fired before you retire, or I get fired before I retire, it's not really a soft landing spot. But because of his past with law enforcement, because of his connections, he's going to do okay. And quite frankly, the president has some issues with him. And if, the president deems he's going to get it, then he should get it. What do you make of the press having an advocacy for really 6 months ago was an unknown person?
Well, we can look at the situation just the other day with Rex Tillerson, the now former Secretary of State. When he was nominated for Secretary of State, everybody was saying, "Oh my God, we can't do this." He has such deep ties with Russia. And now that he was fired, you had Nancy Pelosi releasing a statement saying, how can anybody go into a position in the Trump administration and feel comfortable in their job if they're just going to get fired? So now they're protecting Tillerson when they were bashing him mercilessly when he was nominated.
Well, and that is the prerogative of the president. We all see it in the TV shows. Nick, you probably met these people. They serve at the pleasure of the president.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's, like you said, that's his prerogative. If you are not doing the job that is, for lack of a better term, required of you, if you or I didn't do our job as required of us, we would be out on our, keisters. And I think people, Trump likes to, he's trying to get his ducks in a row, basically. He's getting the right people at the right time. I think, different people take different situations, they'll attack it differently. And I think that his kind of, Ferris wheel of people, I think it's actually a good thing because, like I said, you need different people to attack different situations differently. So I don't really see the huge deal here.
Well, they seem to be personally bothered by this. And here's another one. You can do your job. You can do your job to the best of your ability. And sometimes you still get it. Life is not fair. And it's funny that the press is advocating for Mr. McCabe here when, you have companies that go bankrupt. You have decisions that are made. People have been through that all the time. But, all of a sudden, Prince McCabe is above reproach.
Well, people think, they're entitled to everything all the time. And the thing about entitlement is you have to have done something in order to be entitled to it. So, we need to really stop the hypocrisy in the media and Washington because, they talk out of one side of their mouth on Tuesday and then the other side of their mouth on Thursday.
And indeed they do. So let's take a look at the Tillerson situation. What do you make of that, how that went down? We talked a little bit about it, but the president just let him know via tweet.
Well, there are easier ways to be notified that you were fired. I'm not saying that it was the most delicate of situations, but at the same time, if you're not doing the job that the president basically lined up for you, then you're going to be replaced. And that's what seems to be the recurring theme in this administration, which I don't really see as a problem because if it's the president's head on the chopping block, then he wants the right people in place to push what his vision is, whatever it is this week, out to the masses.
Nick, finally, let's take a look at the midterms. How do you expect them to be covered?
Oh, well, you just look at the track record of the media. I think there's going to be a giant push, not only for the left of center candidates, but I think there's going to be a giant push for separate issues like gun control. And I think abortion could come into huge play here. I think the funding of Planned Parenthood, and then you also have, the rest of Obamacare, which, a lot of people want repealed, but, I think that's going to be a huge topic during the midterms, and where candidates stand on that might affect the outcome.
All right. We appreciate that. Nick, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Nick Ankadis joining us from the Media Research Center television edition. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And in honor of the NCAA tournament coming to town, we wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to do their own voting, if you will. And as we take a look at this, you've got the governor's race on our website, the NCAA Tournament Edition. Now, I have to tell you something. Apparently, there is something wrong with our website. And I know Ray Amaya, who's a big fan of KIDOTalkRadio.com, is here with us. But I'm sitting here taking a look at it, and it's 33-33-33. Tommy Alquist, Steve Pankey, and Raul Labrador. So we'll take a look at that. We'll look at that. And by the way, we only have it where you can only vote once per time. So we're trying to get a little bit better as far as being legitimate and credible. So there you have it. But we would love to get your thoughts on this. You know, people are talking about Buffalo last night upsetting Arizona, and that's the big news in the world of sports. Who could be the Buffalo, if you will, of our own governor's race? I mean, think about this when we're taking a look at this at 580-5436-580-KIDO. Would it be Dr. Alquist? Would it be Steve Pankey? Who people say, well, I'm not too sure about Steve Pankey, but, he's spending a lot of money. He's doing a lot of things. He's working it very, very tough. So could Pankey disrupt something? Well, again, it's Friday. And coming up, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Preston, Idaho, more on the student protests. We've gotten a lot of emails from folks on this. And we'll talk about a few local issues, especially the one that Maggie O'Mara brought up, and this issue involving the prisons. And I know what you're saying, Kevin Miller, I don't break the law. But, and this is something the new governor should take a look at, because let's face it, it has not been a good last 8 years for the prison systems here in the state of Idaho, right? Think about the gladiator schools. Think about the nightclub, not the nightclubs, but it almost seems like a nightclub when you have these people fighting and nothing really happens, right? There was no repercussions of this. Well, we just blamed the private prison system. The buck has to stop, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. We are just getting rolling. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
The school district let employees know of a potential security issue today. It involves both current and former employees. District spokesperson Kathleen Tuck says the district discovered that an individual had gained unauthorized access to a school district email account. Tuck says an investigation uncovered it affected a single email user and was not a system-wide incident.
There we have it, 580-5436-580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning here, and we're getting a lot of folks talking about the situation in Preston, Idaho, where allegedly the live puppy was fed to a snapping turtle. Now, the Statesman, just like everybody else here trying to cover themselves, they're saying the science teacher identified by the Idaho State Journal as Robert Crossland is under investigation for animal cruelty. Now, you're going to love this. And we had a young lady that was supposed to come on with us today from Preston. Now, I don't know if she listens to this program on the KIDO Talk Radio app. I don't know if she has seen the social media stuff or said, this show, you guys have a reputation of the benefit of the doubt. Whichever. And we urged her to come on. And then late last night, she got cold feet and said, look, people have condemned this guy. According to her, which is unsubstantiated, the FBI now is involved investigating threats to this teacher and to the school and everything else. And in public relations, they have this thing called crisis management. And it's very easy to say, well, you should do this or that. Having worked on the other side of the line of scrimmage, as you have, there are certain ways that you handle these crazy things. Number one, Mr. Crossland should be suspended. Now, you're going to say, well, Kevin Miller, he's innocent until proven guilty. No one really is disputing what he allegedly did. They just haven't confirmed it. Now, apparently, this teacher, Robert Crossland, is beloved in the Preston area. In fact, I had a young man who sent me an email, the first time he's ever disagreed with the Miller Minute. Because he says, look, Kevin Miller, let Preston, Greg, he goes, let Preston worry about Preston, not what thousands of people think about outside of Preston. Let Boise worry about Boise. Well, I suppose, but it's not just a Preston, Idaho issue. It's become a national story, and you might have 2,500 people there supporting the guy, and then you have hundreds of thousands of people condemning the action. There is just no rationale for, if this is true, feeding a live puppy to a snapping turtle. So now the state of Idaho has jumped into the case. They've confiscated the snapping turtle. That's right. They've confiscated the snapping turtle, and apparently now the junior high school teacher could be facing a misdemeanor criminal charge of animal cruelty. Like I said, he's under investigation. You've got the outrage and everything else. And I love how the Franklin County Sheriff's Office or school officials, through their press release, the school did this, regrettable animal feeding, right? That's regrettable, what they did. Tell that to the live puppy. And then you have people that say, well, the live puppy was sick, and he did this and that. Look, there's no justification for doing this. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Now, people say they don't know what's going to happen to the turtle. He said it either would be euthanized or shipped out of state to be made available for adoption. Now, you can't blame the turtle. And I know what you're saying. Maybe you're in town watching Gonzaga. Maybe you're just coming back from the bars after Arizona got beat. Maybe you're a Buffalo Bull, not to be confused with a Buffalo Bill. And you're going, what do they talk about here in Boise, Idaho? Well, it's Boise, number one. And number two, it's the Treasure Valley. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, you don't euthanize the turtle. The turtle was just doing what snapping turtles do. The person responsible for this, if this is true, is Mr. Crossland, a beloved teacher that people love in Preston, Idaho. Also responsible is the school administration for not handling this appropriately. When you have a situation that is becoming so disruptive that threats are made, that lives are being threatened, you have to diffuse the situation and not cover it up. More on that in a minute. 626, as we have our crisis management seminar. How thrilling to wake up to that here at KIDO Talk Radio. Our time is 626. Let's get you to work safely and on time. And Kevin Miller in the morning here. Let's go to the phones. Max in Garden City, thanks for starting your day with us. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, my friend. I'm not going to stay on too long, but I think that you're really beating a dead horse with this snapping turtle incident. This is a local problem for the local people to handle. Yeah, okay, 60,000, 60 million. I don't care how many condemn him. These are out-of-towners. These are out-of-staters. How many whiny-crats are in the crowd? I think you're giving it entirely too much time, entirely too much attention, and it's time to move on to real issues.
Look, we don't, hold on.
I still like you.
We love you, and look, we love the discourse. However, it's not a local issue.
Why not?
The state of Idaho just
confiscated.
Can I finish, Mr. Prosecutor?
You sure? Go right ahead. Yeah, go on, buddy.
I love people that are engaged so early in the morning. Hey, the state of Idaho confiscated the turtle. It's a state issue. They're gonna hold on. Hold on. You know, we usually talk about like real problems. These are first world problems. They've confiscated the turtle. The turtle might be euthanized. Hopefully, it'll be adopted. The turtle didn't do anything wrong. Did the turtle do anything wrong?
Whiny-crat governors, the people who run this state, are making a political statement. In America, if you go out in the street and you slaughter 3 or 4 people, you make page 1. Next day, it's on to something else. If you slaughter a puppy, they're going to keep it alive for weeks. Let's get a hold of our priorities. It's just a dog. It's just an animal. Okay, that's it. That's it. The state may be doing stupid things. We can fix that on the next election.
Okay, now, this is where I disagree with you and will totally destroy your argument.
Oh, go for it.
They did it allegedly in front of students. And now
there's the word, allegedly.
But look, if he didn't do it, they would have denied it. And now you have threats against the school, against the teacher. They've totally blown this.
Okay, here comes the magic question, and I don't want to hurt you too bad.
Okay, hold on. Okay, Confucius, go ahead.
Were you there?
Was I there? No.
Were you there? Okay. No. Do you have a first-hand account, even a first-hand from an eyewitness?
No.
That's it. No case. Move on.
You could say that about every story. Move on.
Well,
You could say that story about the prisoner. I mean, how would you like to be the prisoner? You're there for, DWI, and you're about ready to get out, and they put you in jail with your cellmates, a guy that's a convicted murderer several times over.
You're talking people versus animals. Again,
Well, I wasn't there. Hold on. I wasn't
Okay.
there. I didn't see what happened.
Okay. Therefore,
How do I know
you
it's
weren't
true?
There, did you have a first eyewitness account of the prison situation?
I wasn't there in the cell.
If you weren't there and you didn't have an eyewitness, then you really need to just mention it. It happened. Fine. Move on to other stories.
Well, I did. I talked a little bit about the governor's race.
Yeah, but you're also harping on this turtle puppy thing.
Harping. Well,
Listen.
I
you
think
are a
I think
good
it's
announcer. KIDO is my source for information. The fair and balanced look across Idaho. Yes, yes, yes.
I wouldn't say fair or balanced.
Kevin, you keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're doing, but please, let's broaden the coverage
Please.
and let's get off this dead horse or dead turtle, whatever we're beating.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you, buddy.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, I know I'm a bad man.
See you, Max.
Okay.
All right. Enough with the turtle. Jim in Middleton. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Hey, Jim.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. I wanted to come in and give you a little support and rescue you this morning. I think the last caller was a little harsh, and I'll explain. You're very passionate about animals, and I wanted to just call in, and I know that this is very dear to you, and so you've given so many other people a voice, allowed to speak and voice their opinion. So I'm patient with you on this, and again, I know you're passionate about animals. So I think the last caller was just a little harsh. So you go ahead and keep talking about that, Kevin. It's quite all right. You've given us a lot of open venue. Anyway, I got to go quick here, but thanks again, Kevin.
Thank you, Jim. Take care. Appreciate it. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Bob in Meridian with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Kevin. It's just like one guy called. Let's just worry about our people in Boise. Worry about our people in Boise. We don't worry about nobody else. This teacher's just desensitizing our kids with the violent act of a little puppy being torn apart by a snapping turtle. And like, oh, that's not a big deal. It's just a dog. It's just an animal. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. It's just our young children being, just desensitized by violence, by pornography, by all this crap. And I hate to say it, but a lot of these teachers, I feel like that's just what they're trying to do. So that's my opinion anyway.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Bob and Meridian. Coming up next, we'll talk a little prison safety, and we'll talk a little bit more as we move along. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
And KIDO Talk Radio. I do want to remind you our NCAA edition of the governor's race is available right now. Everybody tied up except for Brad Little. He needs some votes. Vote now at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Jim, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hey, Jim.
Good morning, sir. I think you're doing fine. You're just, informing us on the, updates with the puppy turtle story. No, I haven't heard it repeatedly. It's just been a little here, a little there. What happened? The new developments with it. I think it's fine. I don't think it's overblown at all or a dead horse. Dead horse to me, honestly. It's nice to hear something different on the radio, as tragic as it is. The whole thing with Trump, to me, is overblown and a dead horse. Russian collusion for 15 months. I'm tired of hearing that. I want it to be done and moved on, but that's something that we keep hearing about because it won't go away. So it's nice hearing you talk about something different for a change. I mean, you don't talk about that all the time. You bring up school shootings or, all the other things going on. It's just, nationally, it's all, Trump, Russia. So it's nice to hear something different, even though it is something, unfortunate that happened. But I think you're doing fine with it. Just keep going, reporting as the changes come. You're not on it constantly. You do report on other stories constantly, not just this. So I think you're doing fine.
Jim, I appreciate the endorsement. Take care of yourself.
You too.
All right, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. It's funny, people are saying, Channel 7 running this this story about, what are the districts going to do since, in fact, these levies failed. Well, what they're always going to do, they're going to keep firing it up until the levies pass, right? That's been the experience of a lot of people. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And, listening to the traffic reports, does anybody really work on Fridays anymore? And if I had, my druthers, I think I'd take Monday off because Friday is such a lame day for work anymore. Nobody works anyway, so why not just chill out and go to work when no one's there and then take Monday off? I digress. Let's get back to some real news of the day. And I want to talk to you about the value and meaning of life. And the reason why I'd like to talk to you about that, and it really, when we're older, we seem to appreciate life more. And whether you're in your 20s or your teens or 50s or 70s or what have you, it's that age-old adage. There's two rules to really live by, the golden rule and the rule that we don't really appreciate something until it's gone, whether it's our health, whether it's our people, whether it's our family, right? And here at KIDO Talk Radio, I was sitting there going, well, it's really not a talk topic. It's not really going to promote a lot of feedback. And it's going to be a lot of you, Kevin Miller, which is contrary to how we've built the program. You and I have built this program. It's an exchange, a dialogue, as opposed to a rolling monologue. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, if nothing that we've learned today is that we don't know when our time is up. Look at what happened with that bridge in Florida, that pedestrian bridge right next to, what is it, FAI, Florida Atlantic University, FAU. You're driving along, and all of a sudden this bridge collapses. Now, you could have been in the car, 8 cars underneath it. They're still looking for survivors. Or remember the train that was going from Spokane to Seattle or around Spokane? And it was this high-speed train that wasn't supposed to be going high speed and goes off the tracks into oncoming traffic and kills people. And I don't mean this to bring you down, but I mean as we're driving into work today, as we're funding Social Security to keep the obligations for our predecessors, right? They worked hard, so now we have to work hard to pay for them, which is fine. I always say to people when they go, Kevin, why do you always say you're still employed? Well, I have a mission. I have to pay for the retired folks, and I'm happy with that because hopefully someday people will be paying for me. It's what we call socialism. Anyway, regardless of that, tongue-in-cheek, think about that as we're driving into work. Most roads around here, we've got 2 lanes. Hopefully people have both hands on the steering wheel. You're not having that egg burrito or egg McMuffin or texting. And I suppose we'll bring it home in a minute, but, people trivialize thoughts and prayers these days, but now more than ever, life is so precious. Even the terrorist attacks, what happened in Austin, Texas with those bombings, we don't know who did that. And maybe why the puppy story is so sensitive to me, it's like somebody said earlier, Bob and Meridian, we're becoming desensitized to everything. And I find myself becoming desensitized to it, but, life is so precious, right?
6 people are confirmed dead, and police have now begun a recovery, meaning they don't think anyone else remains alive to be rescued. But recovery will be tricky considering the bridge is not stable. Engineers are working with police.
It's that how are they going to approach this bridge in a tactical way where it doesn't harm the rescuers, and at the same time, if in fact that there's victims deceased that are still trapped under there try to maintain that integrity.
Miami-Dade Police Detective Alvaro Zabaleta. The bridge was still under construction and was designed to withstand a Category 5 hurricane. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
That doesn't make sense. If it was built to withstand a Category 5, then there shouldn't have been an issue. Obviously, it wasn't built to withstand a Category 5. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But we talk about how precious life is. And even when we're talking about the situation in Preston, Idaho, where the state has confiscated the snapping turtle as if the snapping turtle is to blame. We'll go over that coming up in about 20 minutes. And, again, I love what Max said. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. And everybody has an opinion. But this is a much bigger story when it's involving an educator and it's involving kids, a community that feels very passionate about this teacher, and a school system that has totally bungled the situation. But back to this bridge collapsing, and again, we take a look at ourselves, and we're so taught, and I'm evolving as a person, where being at home with your family is more important. We idolize people like John Gruden or Bill Belichick or whomever that all they do is work. Well, in the end, when life is taken from us, what was it for? Those institutions continue to go on, right? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Tom Munz, TomMunz.com, Munz Tom Twitter. Good morning, sir. It's been a while.
I know. Good morning. Well, it sounded like you didn't think you were going to get much comment, so I thought, well, I'll come in and chime in and help a brother out.
Well, I need all the help I can get, so bless you, my son.
No, well, it might end up worse than we both think, so we got to be careful. I've said before that I think that I understand exactly where you're going, but I wanted to add a contrary opinion now, since we're all about opinions, and opinions seem to rule over common sense. But I think that we're the epitome of irony. I think that America is a funny country. It really enjoys embracing idealism while promoting the exact opposite. Or it says one thing and it likes to do the other. We say that we value life and we love our children and we love this and we love that, we love our country. But everything that we do is an exact contradiction. So when you say that we need to, that we have this value for life, I'd say that we value death. We embrace death. We embrace not only death of the physical being, but we promote death of the spirit. We promote death of freedom. We promote death of our children. We promote death of just an entire culture. We say that we want to hang on to all of these things, but yet we must have no clue about what our foundations are, because if we did, we wouldn't be trying to kill everything that we say that we love. Does that make sense?
To a degree, yes.
Well, good. Now, where do you feel I'm falling short?
Look, I'm not a psychologist, man. I just listen.
Well, I think it's important that we probably put on our psychological hats, or our psychology hats, or maybe our philosophical hats, or maybe our logic hats, and to be able to ask if we're actually consistent in what we do.
Well, no, we're not consistent. It's the libs saying, "Hey, we're tolerance and understanding." Well, I disagree. That's enough out of you. Be quiet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't. And not that I enjoy defending the libs, but what I like to do is to be able to look at the issue and suggest that the libs, in a varying degree, are really no different than a lot of the people that claim to be conservatives. We claim that we're conservatives, and yet we don't even have to define those terms. We call ourselves Christians, and we don't have to define those terms. We call ourselves patriots, and we don't have to define those terms. We call ourselves, liberty-minded, and we don't really know what that means. And we don't have to define those terms, because we've now accepted basic generalities and individualism to such a degree that it really doesn't matter anymore. And you can't function in the promotion of anything, to me, anything good when you do something like that. If words don't have meanings, then death is life, and life is death. What does Scripture say about that?
All right, too deep for me, Tom. Too deep for me, bro.
And the wages of sin are death, man. I mean, it's Bible. That's pretty easy, isn't it?
I'm just talking about right, but again, the idea that one day you could be driving, the next day a bridge could fall on you, just shows you how precious each and every relationship that we have is, and yet we don't seem to value it. That's the point I was making.
Yeah. Well, I knew, and I told you in the beginning I understood what you were talking about, but I thought I would expand it in a different direction. The other thing to consider is, what kind of engineering is involved in a bridge?
Well, I bet Pro-Life will call in. He's an engineer.
Well, I would suggest that maybe why would the bridge? Why would I don't even know what kind of bridge it is. I didn't even see it. So
pedestrian bridge.
Out the side of my face. But to me, it would seem if there was going to be a bridge that would be especially over traffic, or at a college, because we love our children, that we would make sure that these things were engineered to the fact that this wouldn't happen.
Well, that's what they said. Tom, I've got to run. Doug and Brenda, please hang on. Your calls are next. I really want to hear what you have to say. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And thank you very much to the K-Millie dancers. Like the Solid Gold dancers. Ray Amaya knows what I'm talking about. Let's get back to the phones, and we go to Doug in Mountain Home. Thank you for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Hey, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin. I listen as much as I can because I work construction. I catch bits and pieces. And next time you get the chance to go to these high schools, I mean, I did catch your program when you were at the Napa one and stuff, and what capital I think it was, I'm not sure. But you do a great job of it. Ask them if they know the difference between a republic and a democracy. And if people would, I don't know how to say this because I'm not good with this, but a republic of what we are, it says it in our Constitution, in our Pledge of Allegiance, and they've taken that from these kids a long time ago. It's the Bill of Rights. In a republic, we're the only one in the world that has that. The Bill of Rights. And they can't take that from us.
Well, that's what drives me crazy when they say this is what a democracy looks like.
Yeah, and democracy is mob rule. It's exactly what it is, and it's what they're doing. It's mob rule. And these kids, I mean, just like Schumer yesterday, I mean, I don't even want to mention his name. I get so pissed off. But he don't care about them kids. He cares about his agenda. I have watched that jackass, my entire freaking adult life, and that's what they are. They're parasites. They use it. They can care less about them kids, their lives, any of that crap. And you can't tell me they would, or they wouldn't be pushing abortion.
Great point, Doug. Got to run. KIDO Talk Radio. Traffic. Good morning, Dave. More coming up. Brenda, hang on. We're going to go back to the puppy, the turtle, the teacher, and you. Kevin Miller, Fox News next on your home for Fox News on the radio. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.